The first time I ever saw Freaks and Geeks was in middle school, about 7 or so years after the show had already been canceled. Nobody in the entire class had ever heard of it, but of course our teacher did, and over the course of the whole school year, we did watch the entire first season. With that, there was definitely some fast forward and skips just to mention. At that age, I was a massive Boy Meets World fan, and honestly, Boy Meets World was what I thought middle school and high school would be like. But in all reality, it turned out being much more like Freaks and Geeks. Sitting in the classroom, I realized this show captured the realness of school in a way that felt completely natural. It had the quiet awkwardness, the terrible outfits, and low stakes of humiliation of just trying to pass under the radar. It didn't feel like a polished television set. It felt real and very flawed in a good way. Discovering the show back then felt like a golden gem. I can't describe to you the excitement the class would get on that random day when he would let us watch the show. It was the same feeling in the 90s, early 2000s of finally seeing that free 20-ounce pop. Wow, such a legendary win. Today, everything is available on demand, but back then, you couldn't just look up a canceled show on an app. Due to the scarcity of the show, this led to an insane amount of gatekeeping. If people knew about it, they kept it close like a secret handshake. But some people were cool enough to actually share the prize, like my teacher, because he decided to break the gatekeeping and let a room full of middle schoolers in on the secret. We got to experience it. And that's the thing about Freaks and Geeks. Most classic TV shows become classics while they're actually on TV. They get high ratings, they win awards, and millions of people watch them every week. This show was almost the exact opposite. When it premiered in the fall of 1999, NBC moved it around the schedule. Didn't know how to market it and canceled it before the first season even finished.
Oh, maniacs! Damn yous!
By all traditional network standards, it was a massive failure. But years after NBC pulled it off the air, it still felt completely different from everything else. It wasn't trying to just give you a polished 30-minute life lesson. It felt very real. This is the story of how a canceled show about uncool kids became television's ultimate best-kept secret. To understand why Freaks and Geeks failed in 1999, you have to look at what else was on TV. Teen dramas back then were glossy, melodramatic, and populated by 25-year-old models talking like clinical psychologists. Then came Paul Feig and Judd Apatow's creation. It was painfully brown, awkwardly quiet, and aggressively real. The kids looked like actual kids. They had bad skin, terrible haircuts, and clothes that didn't fit. The show captured the specific low-stakes humiliation of being a teenager. Winning wasn't about saving the world or getting into Yale. It was about surviving gym class dodgeball or just trying to look cool. NBC had no idea what to do with the show, where the main characters were constantly uncool and frequently losing. The ratings plummeted, the network pulled the plug, and the final few episodes didn't even air until months later on a completely different channel. Usually a canceled one-season show stays dead, but Freaks and Geeks possessed a weird magnetic word-of-mouth energy. In 2004, a massive fan campaign convinced a home video company to release the full series on DVD. It wasn't a standard cheap studio release. It was packed with commentary tracks, booklets, and behind-the-scenes footage. This became the show's second life. It was the physical media era, where discovering a show meant someone had to physically hand you a box set and say, hey, you have to watch this. It sped through college roommates, comedy fans, and classrooms all across the U.S. The ultimate marketing campaign for the show, however, was the cast itself. By 2007, Judd Apatow was rolling Hollywood comedy. Seth Rogen, Jason Segel, and James Franco weren't just random actors anymore. They were genuine movie stars leading massive box office hits. Suddenly, millions of people who loved Superbad or Pineapple Express started looking backward. They discovered the obscure 18-episode high school show from 1999 where the entire modern comedy A-list got their start. In 2000, a rapper named Afroman recorded a song, Because I Got High. It didn't have a massive record label budget or radio airplay. Instead, it became a massive global hit because people burned it onto mixed CDs, shared it in college dorms, and passed the file around Napster. Freaks and Geeks is the television equivalent of this song. It didn't have the network backing or primetime ratings. On paper, it was a total flop that left the creators and cast cut off after just 18 episodes. But it possessed this weird magnetic energy that made it impossible to stay buried. It survived entirely on peer-to-peer networks of fans who refused to let it die, bypassing the corporate gatekeepers because regular people cared enough to pass it down. It didn't become a classic because the network forced it down our throats. It became a classic because over 2 decades, people just kept telling their friends they have to watch it. And sometimes all it took was a cool teacher turning it on for a room full of middle schoolers.